guys, welcome back to another episode of the Ike MMA podcast. And well, first of all, let me start by saying, Emmanuel, I'm not that I'm bitching, not moaning or anything at all like that, but this podcasting thing can be hard. Not necessarily not hard to do, but you want to keep up with the scene where you're focusing on, especially for us, especially for me. I'm trying to focus on the UK scene and not after the Irish scene. But everything moves so fast, not just with the events, the fights coming through. I mean, Cage Legacy, they seem to be adding a fight to the card coming up on April 10th, virtually every single day. There's a new fight, there's a new bout coming in. I mean, Declan's really working his socks off. So because I noticed your page on Instagram.
Which is why like my page, for example, I had to really stay on top of it, and like I realized very quickly at the beginning, I can't just do like one episode a week. That's not going to fly over here. It's like so much to cover, so many people to talk to. There's absolutely no way that I could just stick to the one episode a week. It just wasn't going to work. So that's why I have that high volume work rate where I try to get everybody on, speak to as many people as I can. And that seems to work better.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I can see your background and your merchandise. Good indication that I should also start thinking of doing something like that for myself. At least put my logo in the background where I am. Just to add to that feel, which is
I'm gonna start selling these. What do you think?
No,
look cool.
No, it's nice, and the color red, black upon red. You know, the red on its own. First of all, it's eye catching because it's a color that catches people's attention.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's good. So where should we start? Bellator 275.
Absolutely. Let's go there. Yeah.
I can hear an echo at your end. Are you sure maybe the feedback loop on the mic's not on or something?
How do I fix that? I don't know. How do I fix that?
Okay, let me just kind of repeat what I said. Maybe you're hearing it because I think but can you hear me through the phone or can you hear me through your headphones? Because you really should be hearing me through your headphones.
Yeah, headphones.
Okay, you're not hearing me through your device at all. Okay, good. Because you hear me through the device, then there might be an echo feedback. Kieran is fighting on Bellator 275 at Dublin 3 Arena tomorrow. And you're gonna be there cage side, so you're gonna be really, really, really busy. And I tried to look for what interviews he may have done before in the run up to the fight, but I couldn't find it. But after this fight, hopefully, if he wins, that's all going to change because his fight's been moved to the main card, so more eyes, more attention, and a wider audience. So hopefully after this fight, his name will hit the value of his name in mixed martial arts, especially in Bellator on the Irish scene, will be boosted right up there. So hopefully that will change a lot of things. The interview that I saw with him, just the short press conference he had before going when the whole thing kicks off, people were asking. One journalist did ask, you seem to be quite an underrated fighter, and not a lot of people talking about you. Not a lot of people know your name, and I did kind of think that the journalist was onto something because a lot of the guys fighting in the local scene who are really, really good, they're not given that due credit, that due respect. So, just the due recognition for the work they do because they're very, very talented. They're very, very good. They're very good, entertaining to watch fight.
Yeah. And like, if you watch his last fight, he was at the main event of the prelims. So he was the top of the card of the prelims in his last fight. And like watching it from home, it literally looked like the whole roof had been like blown off. Everybody was like shouting and everything because the fight was so good. He was literally losing that fight. First 2 rounds, getting his ass kicked, and he comes back in the third and snatches a submission win after eating flying knees to the face and elbows and like anybody else would have been knocked the fuck out, and Kieran fought through it, gets the guy to the ground, grabs the submission, wins the fight. Like, yeah, that really set the pace for a great main event. After that, the crowd was like fired up and everything. So yeah, so I can't wait to see him in action again for sure. And this is going to be my first time watching him in action live.
Cage side.
I've met him before at Cage Legacy and Clan Wars. Spoke to him and everything. So had him on a podcast a few times as well. So yeah, it's going to be cool to actually watch him fight.
When I saw, I mean, I didn't see any sort of post on social media, on Instagram or anywhere to suggest that there were some sorts of preparations or discussions were happening about making a decision to move his bout to the main card. I mean, did that just happen by accident?
No. What happened was Peter Queally got injured just last week.
Okay, I see.
And Peter Queally was supposed to be the co-main event. And because of his injury, his fight got scrapped. So they had to move someone up from the prelims up. So what they ended up doing is, because of the fight of Leah McCord versus Sinead Kavanagh, that's literally the biggest fight ever, I think, in the Irish MMA scene. They decided to make that fight the co-main event. Just because the way it was the Gegard Mousasi, and then it was Peter Queally, and then it was Sinead Kavanagh against Leah McCord. So that was the original order. So they moved Leah up, and then they had a gap there to fill. And yeah, I think they gave it to Kieran. So Kieran is going to be third fight from the top of the card.
Nice.
Yeah. Which is really huge for him. Huge. Absolutely huge.
Yeah, no, definitely. I wanted to get him onto the show this week, but he said that for this week, I think probably you've interviewed him already this week. He said that for this week, his kind of things are fixed, so his schedule's fully booked. So hopefully after the fight, I can get him on, and I thought actually it might be better to get him on after the fight, because in the run up to the actual event, he'll be focused, be dead focused, and just on getting prepared, and just on winning.
Yeah, so, but fighters, like the week of the fight, you gotta understand that's the week of the fight that gets the most attention for fighters.
Yeah.
So it's also the week that they do the most media. It's the week that they get the most interviews done and everything else. So don't be thinking you're hassling them or whatever, or it's a nuisance.
You say I still have that feeling, and I'm not to dismiss what you're saying. I do agree with everything you're saying, but sometimes I send them a message on Instagram via direct message, and sometimes I get back to you and I say, okay, I have to get back to you with the time, and then I think, okay, that's fine. At least you take into consideration my offer to come into my show. Excuse me. And then they don't get back to you, and I think, should I disturb them again? You see, with Declan from Cage Legacy, I've been consistently messaging the guy. I know he's busy organizing his own event. All he would do is just like my message, and then I'm like, okay, is that because you're busy, or that because you're kind of just toying with me to just playfully say yes or no? Because I know he said to me in the past, anytime, any place, I can do the interview. Well, the first time we tried to do that, he actually fell asleep, and me and David were waiting up until about 1 a.m. for this guy to come on the show.
Right.
Yeah. But
yeah. Well, that's the one thing that you're going to deal with, but that's another topic of conversation. But yeah, like I see that you think like you're disturbing them or whatever. Like, that's not the way to think about it. You are helping them, you are promoting them, you're promoting the fight, the event. We're here for them. That's the way you should be looking at it. And like yeah, you are going to find fighters that can't make time, or you will find fighters that they literally have so many requests that they have to prioritize. So if they look at say doing an interview for Virgin Media Sports or coming on the Ike MMA, like, okay, I'll just go with Virgin Media Sports because that's an actual channel. Thousands of people are going to watch that versus hundreds of people. So there's hundreds versus thousands. Okay, I'll go with thousands. So you got to consider that as well. You know, like if you get a huge podcast like Severe MMA or the Energized Show versus mine or yours, they are going to pick those other two podcasts because they are way bigger.
Yes.
And so on. So you got to consider that too. If it was you, you would be doing exactly the same. You'd be like, I'm going to go with the biggest one that can give me the most coverage.
Of course.
And then I'll worry about all the other small guys. And if I have time for those small guys, then I'll go there. And if I don't have time for those small guys, then there's always next time. Yeah, there's nothing to be offended by or anything like that. It's just the way it is. Yeah.
No, everything you're saying is correct. And in fact, one of the ways you said that you could, that I should go about getting fighters on the show has actually worked most of the time. When you post maybe their content of them training or winning an event or one of their past fights, or maybe one of the posters promoting an upcoming bout, they do actually reply. As in, they will like your repost or your reshare. They will kind of reshare what you've reshared with their content. And actually, last night, one of those things actually happened by accident. I actually reposted and reshared a Cage Warriors bout that had recently been announced, and actually tags the wrong fighter. But actually, he kind of turned it around and said, I'm not in that bout. I'm actually in this bout." And he showed me a completely different promotion from a completely different promotion, fighting promoter. And I was okay. I said apologies. Would you like me to repost? He said, yeah, sure, okay, fine. And I did just that. But I don't think I asked him to comment on the show. I probably did, and he probably said, yeah, I'd love to do that. So the stuff he said actually does work, and these guys actually are not they're not what they seem to be when you watch them fighting in the cage. They're actually quite cool-headed and calm and collected. And Noah Mannion, he's a very good example of that. Though he's still very young, but he's not the sort of brash sort of individual.
No, but like don't even go any further. Like think about you as a person right now, right? Super nice guy. Imagine you start training, and in a year's time you think, "Fuck, I actually want to get in the cage and get competitive." Are you going to turn into an asshole just because you now have the tools to get in the cage and kick somebody's ass? No, you're still going to be you, right? So you're still a nice guy. You just have tools now to compete with somebody else. That's all. So if me and you are going to step in the cage and fight each other, I'm not going to change my persona just because I know how to. Like, so that's the way you should look at them. They are human beings. They are people. They just have been training martial arts for years and years and years, and they are like light years ahead of me or you, but that's it. But if me and you were to go down that route, we could get there. You know, I'm not saying professional, but we could definitely fight in the amateur realm. And yeah, you're not going to turn into someone else, I don't think, unless you are already an asshole. And then yeah, mixed martial arts can then turn you into a humble person, or you can just keep being an asshole, I guess. So yeah, you are gonna have always the exception. But just think about yourself. Like, how would you be if you had 5 years of training of MMA? Would you stop being a nice guy? No, like you're still gonna be a nice guy. So yeah, you got to think about that flip of the switch that I talked about like 1 or 2 episodes ago.
Yeah,
where you can just flip that switch, get in the cage, kick ass, get out, turn it off. That's it. You're back to normal.
I should ask you, and my God, this is gonna probably cost me. It's gonna make the editing quite tedious, but I'll find a way of working around it. Your device, it's you might want to turn it sideways, unless if you prefer it this way. If you can
Turn it
do that,
sideways.
yeah.
Hold on.
I make it might look a bit fuller, as in wider at your end. Yes, that's best. My God, the editing might be a pain, but I'll find a way of doing it.
You can just cut the transition or just leave it.
No, I'll have to. Yeah, but I have to crop the do some cropping. But anyway, I'll find a way of working around it. So but this event, Bellator 275, it's Bellator 275, isn't it?
Yeah, 275, yeah.
The fact that Kieran is fighting on this card and he's got to know you and then maybe to an extent me, isn't the only reason why it's a big event, especially for you. It's a big event, especially for you, because you're going to be going there. You're going to be cage side. So what? Just take me through it. What's it? What are the first things you can have to do when you get there, and just walk me through the whole experience.
Right. Let's I suppose start with the beginning of how I got this. Right. So the reason why I got this was the very first cage side event that I did, which was Clan Wars 39 and 40. The MMA Island had a representative there. For people that don't know MMA Island, it's like one of the biggest pages of MMA media on Instagram, right? So that's them. Oh, it doesn't show.
Yeah,
that's what those
makeshift backgrounds do, I'm afraid.
Oh, like
no, that I can see that, but I've seen their page.
They've have like 84,000. Yeah, 84,000 followers, and it was literally the guy Donna Carbon that showed me the ropes, told me what to do, what not to do, how to pose, blah 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 blah. Because he had already watched some of my interviews, and he told me he was a fan. He liked my style, this and that. Like we had some common fighters that we had interviewed, like Andreas Binder. He had interviewed them for MMA Island, and then I had interviewed them for the Prospect MMA podcast. And that's how we followed each other's work, I guess. So MMA Island on that day gave my page a follow, right? Because they've seen that me and him were covering the same event. And from that moment onwards, every time that I have like a professional fighter, Bellator, UFC, whatever, they normally come on the live and they, type some comments or whatever. And yeah, so they have been following my work since then, which was July last year, so July 2021.
Wow.
Okay. And at the last Dublin event, Bellator Dublin, they had nobody to go to because Donna Carbon got a full-time job at the Daily Mail in London. So he's now a full journalist, full-time, living his dream. Congratulations to him. So he left that position from MMA Island. Yeah, the guy has like a degree in journalism and everything. So he's not like me, an amateur.
Listen, some things you don't, from my experience, from what I can see now, some really good jobs that pay really, really high salary, you don't need a degree. You really don't need a degree. Just knowledge and experience.
Like, I don't consider me and him being in the same realm. He's like a journalist, proper journalist, and I'm a podcaster, really. Like, that's what I do. And then I can do, face-to-face interviews, but I'm a podcaster mainly. But anyway, I then got in touch, hustling, which is what I do. I got in touch with MMA Island. I told them, I've seen that you don't have anybody, or you had nobody at the Dublin event in November. Keep me in mind for the next one. If you guys need anybody to go represent MMA Island, that kind of stuff, let me know. And yeah, they applied for the credentials on my behalf, and yeah, we got them. So I'm going to be there reporting for MMA Island this time. The process, right? So that's what you were asking, like, what do I have to do and all that?
I mean, I've got to
pretty much.
I was going to say, I've got maybe say a brief or somewhat of an idea of what to expect after going to the AFS event about 2 weeks ago now. So I think I have some idea of what to expect if I were in your shoes. But I mean, Bellator is a proper, well-known, established MMA fighting promotion. Probably still a few steps behind the UFC, but still, it's a household name worldwide now. So, especially in the US,
it's only one step. behind the UFC.
Well, yes,
There's the
I'll say that.
UFC, and number 2 is Bellator, and then number 3, you can make an argument between One Championship and Brave, them two, I would say, but they don't really compete that much, I would say, with them two promotions, because the One Championship is more focused on Asia and Africa.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Their roster, if you look at their roster, and then Brave is the one that's trying to go everywhere. So they've been in like 25 countries in like 5 years of existence, and they literally have fighters from all over the world. So they are the ones trying to come for that number 2 spot of the biggest promotion in the world. But yeah, Bellator is just one step below UFC, just to put that on the record. Anyway, they literally told me, and Bellator told me something else. So Bellator said on the email, no videos allowed, and this and that, blah 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 blah, only photos. Da, 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 da. Okay, so I have like a huge email saying you can do this, you can do that, you can do this and that, but if you do any of the things that you can't do, credentials out the window, you get kicked out of the event. So like this is like a serious professional event, right? Where Clan Wars say that I posted a 35-second video, and they said I'm only allowed a 30-second video. Somebody would come and tap me on the shoulder and say, "Hey, don't do that again. It's only 30 seconds," you know.
Really?
So there's a difference there, you know. No, I'm just giving the example. Like Clan Wars, nobody would kick me out, or Cage Legacy, nobody would kick me out if I make a mistake. But Bellator seems to be, you make a mistake, you're out, and you get your credentials revoked for future events. It says on the email. So yeah, so this is like a proper. I got to be careful of what I do, kind of thing. So it's like a job, right? A job that I can be fired from, kind of thing. But yeah, so they literally told me. Then the MMA Island said, go onto our page, check the Bellator 274, which is the one that just happened last week in the US, and check the highlights. And this is what we want you to do. So they went there. They had a representative at that event, and to my surprise, they were taking videos and they were taking photos, and they were like tagging the fighters and stuff. So I don't know if this is one of them cases where they just have to put that on the terms and conditions or something. Just saying no videos because it's being streamed on YouTube, and because it's going to be on the BBC iPlayer, and it's going to be on the Virgin Sports. But then again, everybody can go on YouTube and watch it, so I don't really know what the difference is. But anyway, like I was saying, I'm going to get there. I'm going to see what everybody else is doing, which is what I did when I went to my first event at Clan Wars. Saw what everybody else is doing, and then take the lead from there. And okay, if they are recording, then I can record them. Nobody's getting kicked out for doing that, and I'm not going to get kicked out for doing that, and so on. And if nobody's recording, then I'm not going to be the one recording either. So yeah, but yeah, like reporting the results is going to be the main thing. Being active on the MMA Island page, putting up the stories, the results, tagging the fighters, doing the same thing on Twitter. Yeah, that's it. That's the job.
Okay.
Try and get post-fight interviews with the winners. That's another one.
Yeah.
For sure.
Of
yeah,
course,
if
definitely.
I can, run to the backstage, get the post-fight interview, run back to the front for the next fight, because there's actual gaps in between each fight.
Yeah,
right?
Of course, yeah.
And there will be adverts, so the TV break, right, to go into the adverts and everything, and then they come back and all that. So as a journalist, that's kind of what you want, or as a reporter, whatever we call this job, that's what you want. You want to have a break so you can go talk to the winner and then come back, and you're not worried about missing the next fight. You know you have a break, so you don't have to rush with the interview. You know you have like 2 or 3 minutes, 4 minutes, whatever, to go and ask the questions. And yeah, from like the first fight, which is Lee Hammond, which I'm very excited to see him fighting. Top prospect, this guy. You
Lee
probably don't
Hammond.
know him.
Lee Hammond. Lee
Yeah.
Hammond's the name. I think I saw it on Instagram. Sorry, there's so many fights. The amateur scene is just exploding with new names here and there who are really, really good.
Yeah,
So
I know.
that's what I meant. What I was saying before. It's hard to keep up with them. I try not to sound like an idiot when I say who is this person. I remember the name from somewhere. God, who is?
I will
That's
tell
why.
you who is this person. I will tell you. Lee Hammond fought in the IMFs a bunch of times, got silver medal, wasn't happy with that, went back until he got gold medal. So he's a gold medalist, world champion in the IMFs. Not only that, he competes in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, has multiple medals in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well. No gi and gi competitions. Um, then it seemed like the with the lockdowns and stuff, there was no MMA going on. So he decides to take a professional kickboxing fight, which he wins. And because of taking that professional fight, he could not go back to competing in amateur. So then he had to go professional in MMA as well. Had his first professional fight, uh, wins as well by knockout. Um, and that was in November last year. So just November last year, he turned pro. And now, yeah, he's in Bellator fighting a guy from England, Jamie Hay, which I think is a padded fighter. I want to say that on record. He is 2-0, and the two fighters that he fought was at the Full Contact Contenders (FCC), which is a promotion known to hire cans. And if you guys want to check that out, you can check that at the Only Cans page on Instagram. The two fighters that he fought, one was 0-7, and the other one was 0-5. So he has two victories against 0-12 combined record of his opponents. So yeah, whatever that says about him. Where the guy that Lee Hammond fought and knocked him out in the first fight, the guy was 4-0. So 4-0 fighter, you know. So he took on a 4-0 fighter that had like 4 wins and 4 finishes for his first fight, and yeah, Lee Hammond knocked him out. So yeah, this guy's the real deal. So that's going to be the first fight of Bellator. That's how it opens at 6 p.m. So make sure you tune in to watch this guy fighting. Yeah, and then after that, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was saying, let me just get Lee's information up on my tablet. His fight record.
It's only 1-0 because he only had his pro debut in November, so he's only 1-0 as a pro.
Okay, but all right, okay, I see.
Right, he's 1-0 because he just turned pro. If you want to look at his amateur, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 wins and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 losses. 16 wins, 5 losses as an amateur. That's fucking awesome. 20 plus fights as an amateur. And again, not only got silver medal, he also went and got the gold medal at the IMF.
Yeah, I can see there's way more green than there is of red or draws or whatever. So his amateur record looks as in really promising to go on to be a pro.
Yeah. And then the other thing you can look is his BJJ record, if you want. But yeah, this is MMA anyway. But again, like achievement-wise, he has lots of achievements in the BJJ. He then took that fight in kickboxing because he wanted to see where his striking was at, which he won. Then his MMA debut, he gets a knockout. So his striking is there. His Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is there. He's an MMA fighter. Let's go. Training under John Kavanagh at the SBG Ireland. Yeah, this guy's the shit. So yeah.
SBG.
Yeah, and by the way, let's just say Jamie, unprofessional dude, missed weight. The only fighter that missed weight in the whole Bellator card. Come on, dude. What are you doing? Anyway, carry on.
SBJ, they seem to be making what's the word I can use? They seem to be producing a lot of the Irish talent. I think Kieran Clark came from there. Conor McGregor, it needs no introduction. He came from there, and now this guy Lee Hammond I'm learning about.
Paddy the Hooligan Houlihan as well. He used to fight in the UFC. Him, and Jon were the two guys that started the SPG gym, and then they had a fallen out, and that's why Paddy went and got his own gym. That was called SPG 24, and then they decided to change the name to Houlihan Martial Arts. So when you hear of that gym, which is where Shauna Bannon comes from, Shauna Bannon is the girl that's headlining Cage Legacy. She's going to have her pro debut, and she was headlining the previous Cage Legacy. She trains under Paddy. Paddy is the guy that used to train with John Kavanagh. They together formed the SPG squad. Yeah.
You just said another name that you just said another name or another number of names. So I'd like to get onto the show. As I said, this podcast thing, it's not as easy as it may look from the outside. You've really got to keep on it 24/7.
Yep. Let's just go through the card. So you have Lee Hammond first. The next fight is then Nathan Kelly against Scott Patterson. I've seen Scott Patterson fighting at Cage Warriors, so he's a Cage Warriors veteran. Record of 1-2. I wasn't impressed with his fights, right? I'll just say that. I've seen Nathan Kelly fighting twice at the Clan Wars. 9-second knockout. But just to rewind, this guy's a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu, and he's like one of the youngest ever black belts in Jiu-Jitsu in Ireland. He was like a black belt at the age of like 21. So this guy comes into martial arts with the grappling, level, super high level. Also goes on the IMAFs, gets like silver medal and all this and that. Turns pro, doesn't have the best start. Starts with like 2 losses, and then he goes on a 3-win streak where one was a submission and then 2 knockouts in a row, which goes to show that his striking is like again catching up with his grappling. He got a 9-second knockout that happened like right in front of me as I was cage side at Clan Wars. He was fighting a Muay Thai guy, a guy that's like really known for his striking. Knocks him the fuck out. The guy goes like L, stiff, falls backwards, like, yeah, you're out, 9 seconds. And then he goes and fights Shamrock. Shamrock, 6-0 fighter, all by finish. He had 6 wins, six finishes, 1 knockout, 5 submissions. That was for the featherweight title of Clan Wars. He beats the guy down in, I think it was a minute and a half, something like that, against the cage, TKO. Yeah, like that was like amazing to watch. And now he gets the call to the Bellator. So again, another SPG Ireland prospect that has been in the local circuit, done his thing, and now he's going on to Bellator. So really great guy to keep an eye on.
So what was I going to say? Yeah.
You want me to keep
going? No, I think you
Mm.
said you were expecting a phone call from, is it your wife? But okay, whilst we're still talking about Bellator, the cage side thing, the streaming, and I asked you about the streaming thing, whether you'd be allowed to stream. And I did mention to you that if I had to watch the whole thing through the BBC, knowing how left-wing they are, they might censor some of the really, really gruesome stroke good parts, where a fighter may break a leg.
I doubt it. Has that ever happened? Have you ever seen that happening?
What I mean, where they get injured on the, or what I mean through watching a sports event through the BBC or Sky Sports.
This is an event live, right? So this is like football happening live, and somebody breaks a leg in football. Have you ever seen anybody censoring anything?
Well, not necessarily, but because of how way
Because I
things, I know
never.
this. No, hold on. Just hear me out. Because of how left wing a lot
Uh-huh.
of these news corporations are, how these broadcasting corporations, especially here in the UK, they censor a lot of the gruesome bits that people be offended by. You know, so that's what I'm saying. The experience I had
There's
at
nothing to
AFC.
be offended.
No,
Hold on,
you're right. You're
because
right.
like, because I think that there's a misconception, I guess. Like, if they were that left wing or whatever bullshit politics thing, they would never hire Bellator to go on their channel. Like, they wouldn't even go there, right? If they are paying Bellator to be on their channel, they know everything that's going to come from that. They know fighters curse on interviews sometimes. They know, yes, you can break your leg, arm, whatever. You can get choked unconscious. Like, you can die on the ring, God forbid, but you can die on the ring. So if you don't want that on your channel, then you don't hire that. If you hire that, then you know what's going to come with it. So I don't, I, I didn't understand that argument that
No,
you
no,
made whenever we're
I know,
talking.
I get that. I do. What I'm saying that in the past several years, especially since this Brexit and since Donald Trump was elected as the US president, um,
Mhm.
seeing how things have been, how the media has been portraying certain information, whether it is entertainment, soap operas, sports, you know, I've noticed that certain things are taken out, they're removed. So when I said to you, an injury, someone getting an injury, like my experience at AFS, my first cage side fight, watching cage side, there's a lot of the experience I had watching the fight as it was happening right in front of me without a screen there is completely different to watching it through recording through a TV program like the BBC or Sky Sports or ESPN or Showtime. So knowing a lot of UK broad news corporation and sports networks over here, how left wing they are, how they have censored things before, very recently in the past. It was my suspicion that with something like Bellator, they might do something like that as well.
I
Because
think
you
your
watch it,
suspicion is incorrect.
yeah, yeah,
It's
okay, no,
incorrect, and not only is incorrect, like it's being streamed live. You can censor things live. Like, there's a delay on the feed, yes, but like, it's never gonna happen. And again, if they don't want that on their network, they just wouldn't hire the show to be on their network. There's a reason why they want Bellator on there, and the reason why is because it's the second biggest show in the world as far as MMA goes, and it brings a lot of attention to the BBC iPlayer. That's why they got that deal with the BBC iPlayer, so anybody in the UK can go on the BBC iPlayer and get the show for free. And that way, they obviously in return get BBC iPlayer downloads and all that stuff, and they get paid with their advertising and subscription models and all that shit that goes on that.
hold it. So the sport, the MMA promotion, so I can just understand how it works. The companies such as Bellator, One Championship, or the UFC, they would approach the broadcasting company, or does a broadcasting company approach them? Because I thought that the fighting promoter would need a medium to broadcast their event and their content. So is it the fights, the promotions, the promoter approaches the TV company, or the TV company approaches the promoter?
I am not entirely sure as to how that happens, but from what I know from football, for
Yeah.
example, uh, the channels they literally fight for it, and whoever pays the most money gets the deal to stream the game.
Okay, yeah,
And they make their money on the back end.
I
So
see.
I imagine it's like some sort of the same kind of deals that go on with UFC. BT Sports has the right to stream the UFC, right? And if you want to watch it, you have to pay
Yeah,
for
of
that
course, yeah.
channel, right? And there's no way around it. But say that it's an open market, and like anybody can, I don't know, like ESPN is fighting for it, Sky Sports is fighting for it, BT is fighting for it, and whoever pays the UFC the most money gets it, right? They
Yeah.
get the rights um, to stream the event. So I imagine it's the same shit with Bellator and any other show. To be fair, um, so BBC iPlayer got the rights to do it in the UK. Virgin Media has the rights to do it in Ireland, and anybody else in the world whether you're in Portugal, Brazil, China, whatever, you go on YouTube and the event is being streamed live on YouTube. But if your location is set to the UK, then you can't see it on YouTube. You have to go to the BBC iPlayer.
Yeah.
And if your location is in Ireland, same shit.
Media.
You have to go. Yeah. Which is all very easy to go around just by getting a VPN service, and you can, you know, change your location to another country, and there you go. You can go on YouTube and do that. But what's the point if you can get it for free?
No.
And actually contribute towards Bellator? And like, as a fan, for example, I pay for the UFC Fight Pass, right? So I know that, okay, they get my money. My money is going towards paying these fighters. Not just me, but millions of people around the world pay for it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I know that I'm contributing towards these fighters' pay and all that. And it's the same thing. If you're in the UK, you should be going to the BBC iPlayer. So you're giving your contribution to Bellator. And if you're in Ireland, same thing, Virgin Sports. Yeah. So that they have a reason to come back and hire Bellator whenever the contract is over. They're like, okay, we got a good return on investment. We want to deal with these guys again and keep going. Yeah.
Okay, it's a bit of a lesson for me there. Just to know how the financial and the media side of things work. No, that's good to know. All right.
Yeah.
Now,
Shall we go up the card?
Pardon?
Shall we go up the card? Because there's a few other fighters that I need to shout out here.
Oh, sure.
In the Bellator. Like, because you probably are not aware of some of the fighters. So I'll let you know. There's a guy called Gokhan. He's fighting in the third one. It's a heavyweight fight. The guy's 6-1, and I think he has like 5 or 6 finishes as a heavyweight. This guy, knowing how shallow the UFC heavyweight division is, as soon as his Bellator contract is over, I'm pretty sure this guy is going to get snatched to go into the UFC. After that, you have Derek Kelly, 0-0, making his pro debut. And this is a name you want to remember, okay? Derek Kelly. Saw this guy fighting at Clan Wars a few times. He was 9-0 as an amateur, 9 finishes, right? This guy never went the distance, and he was the #1 ranked featherweight in UK and Ireland. He's making his pro debut, also coming out of SPG Ireland. So he's going to fight Junior Morgan, who's 3-0. So this guy has the balls to step in there with somebody who's 3-0. And this guy comes from the Manchester top team, which is where Lee Murphy from the UFC fights, Mokaev, who's now in the UFC as well. So this guy is like a proper test for his first fight. And yeah, Derek Kelly, remember the name. After that, you have Danny McCormack, again, another undefeated fighter from the SPG Ireland. She's 5-0, strawweight. She, knowing like how shallow the Bellator strawweight division is, she's gonna get snatched to the UFC soon, I'm sure. After that, you have obviously Brett Jones coming from Wales. He trains under Richard Shore, so he trains with guys like Jack Shore, UFC undefeated fighter. Let me just check. The guy's like 17-3. Yeah, he has been in the UFC. Yeah, proper fighter. He's going against a guy who's 8-0, undefeated, called Khurshid Kakhorov, if I'm pronouncing that right. After that, we have Jornal Lugo coming from the US. I've been following this guy since he was 5-0, had him on the podcast. And he's now coming over to Ireland, so I'm not going to meet him in person, which is kind of cool. That I had him on the podcast before from watching his fights in the US. And now he decides to take on Brian Moore, which is like an Irish veteran of mixed martial arts, 14-8. And Jornal Lugo is 7-0. Right?
Yeah, no losses
like,
at all.
There's a huge,
No losses at all for Lugo.
No. Yeah. So this guy's an undefeated prospect, and Prospect is my thing, right? Prospect MMA podcast. So I've been following this guy. Um, he's coming in there like this is like a proper test to his skills. Brian Moore is like no joke. This guy comes in to kill you. He likes to get into those bloody fights, like he's in there to take damage, unleash damage, and yeah, one of us is going home in a stretch,
He's
stretch,
but
stretch.
he's significantly older than Lugo though, if that would mean anything.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. Old breed versus new breed kind of thing. After that, you have Kazem, Mago, Matt, Sharipov, whatever, 6-0, Russia, against Joseph Sanchez,
Oh
11 and
God.
1 from Spain.
Just the
Prospect,
name. Sorry, just the name
yeah,
for the for Kasan where he's from, Russia. Oh God, you know who's gonna win. You know who's gonna win out of that fight. Just when just one takedown is all it takes, and the fight's
yeah,
over.
Dagestani dude. But Joseph Sanchez, 11 and 1. He has several finishes on his record, a combination of stoppages and submissions. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll probably win, but we'll see. Then we have Kieran Clark going in as a 4-0 undefeated prospect against Abu Tokara, who's 7-2. Abu has double the amount of fights that Kieran has. Kieran, this is going to be his 5th fight. This is going to be Abu 10th fight. So yeah. Um, Kieran has 2 finishes out of 4. He has been like a bronze medalist, silver medalist in the IMAS. He had like over 20 fights as an amateur. So again, awesome prospect. Leah McCourt, Queen of the North versus Queen of the South. That's the way that I'm marketing this fight. Leah is from Belfast. Sinead is from Dublin. Who's going to be the Queen of Ireland at the end of the day? Who the fuck knows? But I hope Leah McCourt can take it and that this brings her closer to that title contention. So since Sinead just fought for the title against Chris Cyborg, she lost. If Leah can beat the #1 contender, she becomes then 7-1, which is like 7 wins in a row. That would pretty much put her in line to fight for that title after. So we'll see what happens. And then again, another prospect in the main event, Austin Vanderford, 11-0. He's mainly known as the Paige Van Zandt husband, right?
Yes, because she has an OnlyFans now.
Yeah. So 11-0, huge wrestling background in this guy. He takes you down. He winds out that fight. Um, again, Gagar Musasi, no joke, legend of a guy. Been watching him for years and years and years in the UFC, Strike Force, Bellator. So like, it's gonna be like such a cool thing to meet this guy in person after like so many years of watching him on the telly, right? He's like 48, 7-2. Like, how do you add that up? That's like 57 professional
Yeah.
fights.
Even though
How
there's
the
7
fuck
losses there.
do you fight for 57 times? Like, oh my god.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
like
even though there's
insane.
7 losses, there's 48 wins to make up for all of that. You might as well put it as 48 and
Yeah.
0. Bloody
The the
hell.
the the, the, the 7 losses, one of them is against Uriah Hall, which is still active in the UFC. Rafael Lovato Jr. That was in the Bellator already, and that was by decision. Um, yeah, like Lyoto Machida is one of his losses, again by decision. Um, who else? Fedor Emelianenko. So like this guy has been like everywhere, you know. Um, yeah, this guy's been fighting since 2003. That's 20 years.
He is what,
Next year
36? He's
as a
36, pushing
professional
37 this
fighter,
year.
man. Yeah, so like he started before he was 18, you know. Like this guy is like, yeah, he's a legend. He's a legend of the sport. super stoked to see him fighting in person. Yeah, so that's all I had to say about Bellator. We can now move on. People watching this now know who to keep an eye on. You better get this episode out before Bellator, right?
No, of course. Once we're done, I'm gonna. No, you can laugh, but you can laugh, but there's a seriousness behind it because the Bellator usually they host their events typically on a Friday because the UFC usually hosts their events on a Saturday. So I'm gonna try and get this out latest by 7 p.m. By the end of today, being Thursday, the 24th of February, 2022. So yeah, no, I'm gonna get it out at least 24 hours before the Bellator show starts.
100%.
So great. I clearly need to do. I should have done a lot more
then
research.
You want to talk about UFC, right? No, don't worry about the research because that's why you got me. I'll keep you right and I'll tell you what you need to know. And now you know what you need to know.
Yeah, but it shouldn't always be like that because I want to get into this business of doing a mixed martial arts podcast, and so I should do have my own stuff to say, not just ask and questioning you every single time.
That's why you got a co-host, right?
Yes.
That's why you got a co-host. Because like, if you are like me and I do my podcast solo and I just have my guest, then I have to do the research for my guest, right? And that makes sense. But when it's like a host co-host and it's just two friends talking about MMA, then as long as one of us knows the answer, then I guess it's okay, right? We don't have like a Jamie, like Joe Rogan, that can like Google shit while we're going on about it. So we have to do that ourselves, you know. But yeah.
The UFC, not just the fight card, but am I that interested in the fight? I mean, all I can say is that the Bobby Green fight with him and Makhachev, I mean, the last
fucking
fight.
Disaster.
Sorry?
Let's just go there. It's a fucking disaster.
I think, of course, Makhachev will take the win easy again, just like his fellow brother. He's going to be fighting the card at Bellator. Again, it's just one takedown. Those guys just once they get you on the ground, that's you're never going to get back up until they say so.
Yeah.
Or let you get back up.
Yeah.
All it takes is one takedown. They've got the win in the bag. And I see that fight going this way. Whenever it's one of the Dagestani guys, has been fighting someone, I always say they're going to win because I think when it comes to ground game and stand up, ground game usually is a lot harder to do than stand up because stand up you can get out of it, but ground game your opponent has you pinned to the floor, to the ground, and you can keep you there. And once they've got you pinned down, that's going to be hard for you to defend yourself and so on.
But on the other side of the coin, all it takes is one punch or one kick on the bottom, and that's you out. So that's the other side of the coin here.
Yeah.
It's much easier for me to catch you with just one punch and one kick than for you to take me down and grind out a whole fight. All it takes is like 1 second. 1 second, I connect, you're out. That's it. Good night. You know? So that's the difference between them two.
That's what we saw with Bobby Green and Al La Quinta. It was just one knockout out of nowhere. La Quinta just went down. It was done. But with this fight, I still see the Dagestani, the Russian, taking the win. That's how it's always been, especially with Khabib and all the other guys behind him. You know.
But here's the narrative, right? Islam's coach is saying, "Oh, after this win, title shot." Fuck him and fuck Islam with all due respect. No. You were supposed to fight Daniil Dariush for the #1 spot. And that's who you still need to fight to find out who's going to fight for the belt after. Now it's just in Gaethje, so it's not like we need to rush this straight away. But after Islam beats Bobby, which he is probably gonna, like, if I had to bet the house, I would bet on Islam. Once he beats Bobby, and again, okay, hats off to Bobby for stepping up, blah blah blah. Like, yes, you're a cool dude, you're an exciting fighter. Yeah, like, but I don't expect him to win this fight, especially not on 10 days notice or whatever. Like, no. You want to go against Islam? Have a full training camp.
Yeah.
Wrestle the fuck. on your training camp and be ready for that fight. Don't just take him on 10 days notice. That's just stupid.
Oh, he actually took
but I
it
guess,
at short notice.
yeah, because he just fought like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, right. Yes, yes, you know, he did.
Yeah,
Forgive me. Yes, yes,
he just
yes,
fought
he
like
did.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So he even said that he went from 155 to 185. So the guy put on like 30 pounds after that fight, and now he's having to cut weight again in 10 days. I coach weight cut for fighters. I know how draining it is to cut weight. To do it once every 3 months, never mind to do it once and then you have to do it again 10 days later. This guy has not recovered from his weight cut at that fight. I can tell you that right now, 100%. And he's going to do it again. So he has now 30 pounds to cut between the moment that he got a call and said yes to now to make weight for that fight. So it's going to be interesting to see, can he make weight? Is he going to miss? Because like he could be a gangster and be like, fuck the weight. I'm just going to give him a portion of my purse and get in there and be like the bigger guy and just be like fully recovered from that previous fight 2 weeks ago, and try and box the fuck out of Islam. He could do that, which would be like awesome, and he would completely spin the narrative. But if he's going to be professional and try and make weight, he's going to fuck himself over by trying to do two weight cuts. And we saw the same shit happening with Tony Ferguson when he done that weight cut that he didn't need to, and then he had to go and do it again for Justin Gaethje, and his performance completely went down the drain. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's not an exciting event for me.
Yeah, I
It's not
suspect as
the
such.
event that I'm gonna get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to make sure that I'm watching it or whatever time, you know.
It's
Um,
been said for the past couple of months, or maybe the past couple of years, the UFC now it's probably just by sheer luck or chance that they may put on a fight that turned out to be really entertaining. Whereas other promotions, what I've seen, have actually been putting on events that are entertaining and are really good. And a lot of their talent's really talented and they're very entertaining to watch. But unfortunately, they don't yet have the name value. And on a wider scale, the promoter themselves, they don't have the name value yet as high as much as an organization such as that for UFC has. So, you know, they don't get that recognition and respect for being as good as they are.
yeah.
So the other
I
UFC,
just want to give a shout out as well to Wellington Thurman. So the guy is the co-main event. He's gonna fight against Misha Kirkunov. Kirkunov, fuck, Kirkunov, yeah, Kirkunov, I think. Uh, I had Wellington Thurman on the podcast. Really nice guy. Yeah, just want to give a shout out to him. He's 17-5. He's now training with Glover Teixeira and Alex Pereira at the Teixeira MMA Academy. Yeah, I think, and I wish him good luck on his co-main event. It's the first time he's co-main eventing in his career in the UFC. So yeah, shout out to him. Besides
I
that,
just want to get on my tablet.
there's just Ignacio Bahamondes. He's in the prelims. That guy had a viral spinning back kick knockout in the last 3 seconds of the round of a fight that he was losing. And he pulls a spinning back kick and he lands, and the guy falls stiff to the ground. I have the viral knockout on my feed if you guys want to go watch it. And then obviously Terrence McKinney, 11-3, great prospect as well. Knockout power in his hands. Yeah, those are the prospects that I'm keeping an eye on for this card.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to get the names of those people up on my tablet. Is that for the UFC fight on Saturday?
Yes. You just type UFC. Fuck.
UFC
Oh yeah,
Vegas
here.
48.
You just type UFC cards, and then it comes up UFC Fight Night Makachev versus Green, and you get the full card. Yeah.
Okay, now the other topic relates to the UFC I want to talk about, and okay, I know you like to keep things positive for on the mixed martial arts scene or the combat sporting scene. The Jon
Hmm.
Jones tweet, the latest one, that I think he said his ex-wife, no, his fiance has now left him or so.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Good on her, man, for walking away. Um, like really good on her for walking away
yeah,
um, from obviously a abusive relationship. And I think John needs this. John needs to reassemble himself mentally more than anything, reevaluate his life, step out and see, all the fucking wrong that he's doing and fix himself. And hopefully we see John turning his life around. Like I'm a huge Jon Jones fan. He's Yeah, I think he's my number two favorite fighter of all time.
are you serious? Are you being genuinely serious when you say that? Even after
Yeah,
everything, because for me, it's like you say that hopefully this can compel him to reevaluate his whole life and what he's been doing, how he's been behaving. Um,
yeah,
for me, I always thought the best way to do that maybe is to have him cut from the UFC. And I know you're going to say that's never going to happen because Dana White sees him as like Conor McGregor sees him as one of his golden boys, as in one of his cash cows. Okay, but I think
yeah, right.
if you did that, as in if you actually hit somebody with a punishment that will actually hurt them and actually compel them to change, then that
Yeah,
is when you're going to see them change. I mean, his fiance walking away from him might be let's say a stepping stone to him changing, to that happening. But I don't think it's going to go all the way. I think you still need something more.
yeah. Like whenever you're asking if I'm being genuine, yes, I am. Like I literally was that guy that went back and watched all the UFCs until I caught up with the present. And the present in 2010 was Jon Jones' debut in the UFC. So I've seen him having his first fight in the UFC. I've seen his whole rising um, into title contention, smashing Shogun Rua, walking through all the names that he walked through. His falls, like I've watched the whole thing, and as a fan, I can separate the person from the fighter, and I think a lot of people can't do that, and they judge the person, and they put the fighter together in the same bag, and yeah, they just judge the whole thing together. Where I can literally say he is my second favorite fighter of all time, if not the first. Um, it's a toss between him and Anderson Silva. I've named one of my kids after Anderson Silva, so I guess Anderson gets it. Gets the number one. Jon Jones number two. Um, but yeah, like we all have problems outside our life. I have problems in my life outside what people see in the podcasting and shit. So I can only imagine somebody with that much money that they can literally be drunk every day, all day, and not have to worry about money. Be high all day, every day if they want, and they don't
Hold on,
have to worry about money.
Emmanuel, hold on, let me stop
Mm.
you there. There's many
Okay.
people. Okay, look at a good example that you may say you can't compare. Look at GSP. I'm sure in his childhood, his adolescence, and in his early adulthood, he was bullied a lot by a lot of people. He was bullied
Yeah.
tremendously. Okay, I'm sure that Eve and one thing I have to say, okay, many people may not know this, and it's something, of course, you try to make a sub story about, or, try to bitch around. But I was bullied a lot in school, even sometime even outside of school. But one of the things it taught me is that you don't treat people the way wouldn't like to be treated. You treat people with due respect. So of course, you know, depending on how they treat you, it will obviously influence how you treat them in return. And that stayed with me for the rest for much of my life and into my adulthood. But
Hmm.
someone like GSP, who was a very successful mixed martial artist, and he's considered to be one of the best MMA fighters of all time. I'm sure he had problems, he had issues, and he has you've never ever heard any negative media about that guy at all. It's always been mainly what's been happening in the cage and other projects and other films he's done. whilst he's been
So are
outside
you
of mixed martial
implying
arts.
that everybody has to be equal?
What I'm saying is that why do some people? Well, you can say that again, yes, especially in Jon Jones, because he seems to get away with everything he does, and Dana White just sits back and just makes all these dumb, pathetic excuses for him. Says that the same night they're going to induct that your fighter into your Hall of Fame, the excuse you make is that
but you can see you can see.
Has your connection died?
What,
Emmanuel?
Yeah, hold on. Oh, okay, right. Can you see me?
No, just your logo. Now I can see you.
Okay. Sorry. Perfect. Yeah, don't know what happened there.
Maybe in the connection.
I was saying, fuck, what was I saying? What were we saying?
No, I was talking about GSP and Jon Jones.
I was going to say, you can see how he gets the Dana White privilege, where that guy, Julian Pena, or whatever his name is, he abuses his wife, he gets fired. Jon Jones does the same shit, he stays. Like, okay, cool. But anyway, like, my point is, it doesn't matter to me much of what happens outside the ring, right? As a fan of MMA, I care of what happens in the ring. So I don't give a shit when people come with, oh, have you seen the tweet? Or have you seen what Conor McGregor did? Or how can you still be a fan? Like, dude, what he did in the ring to me will stay forever. When you want to talk about MMA, that's what we should talk about, not what happened outside the ring. If you want to talk about the athlete as a person, then okay, you can bring all those things. But as to what happened in the ring, yeah, there's no discussion. Jon Jones, the GOAT. He's still the GOAT, even though he's not competing. And I think it's going to be a long time until we see somebody else, taking him.
Emmanuel,
off
you said that no human being is perfect. And as human beings, this and that, blah, blah, blah. No human beings equal. But as human beings, naturally, we can't separate the two, can we? Not really, because when people think...
I can. I can. Like, his MMA achievements, this is his MMA achievements. Like, if you want to talk to me about what I have accomplished as a Magic the Gathering player, which I play, like, you can talk about that. And then what does that have to do with my personal life? Nothing whatsoever. So I see MMA in the same kind of thing. I competed in chess. The trophies that I got in chess will stay there. So if you want to talk about what I've done in chess, you can talk about that. And that has nothing to do with everything else that I've done. So that has nothing to do with the podcast, for example. It has nothing to do with me being a father of 4 or whatever. So, like, people need to separate things, right? We are not perfect. Most fighters have mental problems. Again, not making no excuses for Jon. That's why I'm saying good on his fiance for walking away, even though she's like with a guy that's like shit loaded of money and everything else going for him. And yeah, that's what I think he needs. Yeah,
let me push you. Let me press you just slightly, a little bit more. We haven't, and this probably goes into something else, so we could be wrapping up with. He's walked through all those fighters, like you said, but what about while he was walking through those fighters, there was the issue of steroids and all these banned substances that he was using. Even to this day,
they're all on steroids.
Huh?
They're all on steroids. In the good words of Nate Diaz. These motherfuckers are all on steroids. Yeah.
You're right. Okay, you're right. But the thing is, when you're caught, that's when you're on steroids. When you're not caught, it's like, are you on steroids? Are you not on steroids? The thing is, when you're caught doing something, like, that's when it seems that, yes, it tarnishes you forever, more or less.
Yeah.
But if you're not caught,
once you understand steroids, and that's a conversation for another day, time. But once you understand steroids,
okay.
Like, have you had coffee this morning?
No, I had a cup of tea instead.
Okay, so you are taking a performance-enhancing drug right now. Have you had 8 hours sleep last night?
No, just about 3 hours.
I did. So I have a performance enhancing drug in me against you. So if me and you are going to fight, you'd have 3 hours sleep, I have 8. I have a performance enhancing effect in my body that you don't. I had coffee, I have a performance enhancing effect in my body that you don't. And the list goes on. Am I hydrated versus dehydrated? I have performance enhancing effect versus you, and so on, and so on, and so on. So once you understand this, and you understand what steroids can do for you and what they can't do for you, and like, yeah, it's not as bad or as good as the media makes it out to be. So
But
like,
sport, go on.
but what Jon Jones was caught with versus Jon Jones fully natural, he would still be able to do the things that he did fully natural versus what he was caught with. So what he was caught with never gave him the skill to beat the guys that he did. You know, he never gave him the experience that he had as a wrestler going through high school and so on. Those are skills, and he never gave him like his body type, the length that he is, how much is like the reach that he has over other people. Those things you don't get from steroids, right? So understand that. All the effort that he put through, all the hours in the gym, all the wrestling matches that he had, his MMA experience, that's all down to his effort and hours of training. So, and just because you decide to take steroids to be 1% better or 10% better than your opposition, in my opinion, that will not tarnish fuck all. Especially considering like if everybody else is doing it as well, then it's not cheating. You've just been caught cheating. And then there's another argument. If you're not really cheating, then you're not really trying hard enough to win the game, right? So yeah, opinions. I'm gonna have to go, right? Because I really need to go here. So if you want to wrap it up or say your thoughts on that.
My thoughts is that you look at him. I mean, the guy has, despite his good record in mixed martial arts, especially as a pro fighter in the UFC, there's still the issue of the steroids, even though it's cleared every single time. I haven't. If you ask someone like Daniel Cormier, one of his biggest rivals or biggest nemesis in the sport, he will absolutely you know what he'll say. You know how he still feels about the whole thing, because I remember one of the fights he was supposed to have with Jon Jones. Dana White actually went to the backstage row and told him that Jones tested positive, and DC was so annoyed and pissed. He even cried because he trained and prepared so hard for that fight. So I mean, I do get that, but still, naturally, people's opinions that if you've been caught with steroids, it's always a negative outlook that they have on the whole situation, especially for the athlete that's been caught red-handed, more or less. So you understand, you know what I mean.
But what I mean is, if Jon Jones is clean and steps there with Daniel Cormier, he's still going to beat the fuck out of Daniel Cormier. Like, it's not going to change the outcome of the fight. You understand that?
Yeah, no, I do get that, yeah.
So if those two fighters fight 100 times, Jon Jones is still going to beat him maybe 95 of the times. And Daniel Cormier is going to beat him 5 to 10 times in those 100 fights. And that's with steroids or without steroids. Like, the number is going to go from losing 90 times to maybe losing 95 times. Okay? So you're still going to lose most of the time. Yeah.
No, I do understand. It's just the privilege, you see how he has always been given been given so much slack. And look at the Lou Pena situation. Lou Pena even told the UFC and Dana White, look, I've got these mental health issues, so please help me. And instead of helping him, they got rid of him. But Jon Jones, there's a whole history of misbehaving and bad, just BS, and he has always gone away with it.
Pena, like, the UFC can carry on without him forever. Really, Jon Jones is the name that draws money. So
I've said this before, and I said this to Dre Miley when I had them on the show last. I said this to David. I think the only thing left now for Jon Jones to do, whether by the UFC and then what will get rid of him maybe, is attempted murder. Something that drastic and that heinous. I know you're looking at me like I'm crazy or what the hell am I talking about, but he's done so many things.
No,
that the
he's a
UFC
fighter. He literally trains to kill people, and it's up to the referee to stop him from killing somebody. So I'm just thinking, yeah, that would not be outside the realm of possibilities that he kills himself, suicide after having this slowdown, or two, kill somebody else over being on this slowdown situation. So no, it's not outside the realm of possibilities. Hopefully he doesn't do it. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But again, time will tell. And again, I sincerely hope that he can get back on the horse, train again, come back as a heavyweight, smash the fuck out of everybody as a heavyweight, fight against Francis Ngannou, and yeah, and then we will see what the fuck's gonna happen there. So
all right,
that's my
the conversation for steroids. Yeah, and I really would like to have that conversation with you. You have to probably postpone it to another episode, another time. Guys, if you did enjoy the show, please don't forget to leave a like and please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And you can also my co-host, my guest, Emmanuel from Prospect MMA. You can find this link in the comment section, in the description section below. He will be at Cageside at Bellator 275 tomorrow in Dublin at the 3 Arena. And the audio recordings for the podcast will also be available on Spotify, iTunes, and on Google, as well as other platforms as well. So, Emmanuel, thank you so much, and hopefully see you again next week. Oh, before I let you go, can you give me a smile just for the collage for the thumbnail? that's fine. All right. Till next time, yeah. Take care. Thank you.
All right, bro.
Thank you.